The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online.
Mm-hmm.
How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
I'm going to clear it up once on here. I'm not doing it again. And I'm clearing it up for my doc squad, for my fan base, for my audience who deserve to hear me address it. For the folks who have already made up their mind to not like me or not understand me, listen, I don't give a fuck what your narrative is. I would like for you to recreate it, double down on it, and run that shit, because I don't give a fuck about it. Now, to my doc squad, my fan base, my folks, you know, my village, it's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, well, they got to have records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there is a third party that has the records. Why I contact the third party, that third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted, financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you? Or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, I do this with all of the schools. I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just about all of my transcripts, including up to like dissertation. But everything else, there's just no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up. Just in general.
They are going to kill you online this week. They're going to say she has no records. They just want to hate you regardless. But
no, that's fine. And it's not even that there's no records that I don't. The school had a third party that carried the records only for a limit of 2 years. So it's not me. It's any student that attended Argosy. But again, it doesn't, how can I say it? It doesn't affect me, because if I chose to go get a license as an LMFT, I have my master's in marriage, family, child therapist. I have my hours. I can just take that and say, hey, let me submit these for licensure, and I want to go sit for my exam, and I'll have to do a study. I don't need a doctorate in counseling psychology to go get licensed as a therapist. That's what we're all missing.
They say the reason that you don't get questioned or tested as much is because of your quote unquote looks.
I said this last time I was on. You might be my alter ego brother, because some of the stuff you say is just right.
Social media may have finally witnessed one of the biggest exposed moments in the relationship guru industry. So apparently, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, or maybe we should stop asking whether we should even use the doctor title anymore, has found herself in the middle of a massive controversy after people started digging into her academic credentials. And the more people looked, the worse it got. Now, for years, this woman has been moving from platform to platform, introducing herself as doctor. She's been on the Breakfast Club, podcast, relationship panels, interviews, YouTube shows, speaking with authority about relationships, masculinity, femininity, marriage, parenting, trauma, healing, the whole package. She even went as far as referring to all those appearances on major platforms as sessions. Think about that for a second. Those weren't private consultations or actual therapy environments. These were public interviews and podcast appearances. Yet, in her own words, she described them as her sessions being available online for the world to watch. And when you look back at it now, it changes the entire perspective of those appearances. Because while hosts like Nick Cannon, Joe Budden, Cam Newton, Paul Pierce, and Shannon Sharpe probably believed they were simply interviewing a trending relationship expert or internet personality, she herself appeared to view those moments very differently. Looking back, it almost seems like she considered those interviews to be legitimate counseling or therapeutic sessions happening in real time in front of millions of viewers. And that's where the situation becomes even more concerning. Because if someone is presenting ordinary podcast conversations as sessions, that creates the impression that they are operating from a place of verified professional authority. It subtly elevates casual discussions into something that sounds clinical, educational, or therapeutic. To the audience watching at home, that distinction matters. People weren't just consuming entertainment anymore. Many viewers likely believed they were receiving actual psychological insight from a qualified professional. And when someone consistently frames public interviews as sessions, it strengthens the image that they are an accredited expert, providing guidance rather than simply an influencer giving opinions. That's why, in hindsight, so many people are revisiting those appearances differently now. What originally looked like viral podcast content now raises bigger questions about branding, credibility, and whether audiences were intentionally led to believe they were watching a licensed expert conduct some form of public therapy or counseling. And honestly, that changes the entire context of those interviews. Sometimes she called herself a therapist, sometimes a relationship expert, sometimes a life coach. But one thing stayed consistent: the doctor title. And that title matters. Because the moment you put doctor in front of your name, people automatically assumed, oh, this person is qualified. This person studied for years. This person earned authority. That's the entire point of credentials. Now, here's where things get ugly. People started asking very simple questions. Where is the doctorate? Not complicated, not disrespectful, not hate. Just, can you verify the degree? And apparently that became a problem. Because according to what has now come out publicly, there are claims that the school has been shut down or the school allegedly wasn't accredited. There's no transcript available, there's no graduation proof, and there's no certificate. And somehow, despite all of this, she still spent years introducing herself as doctor. Now hold on, pause right there. Because if you know you never graduated, you don't have a certificate, you don't have transcripts, and the institution itself has issues, why are you still calling yourself doctor on national platforms? That's the question people want answered. And this becomes even crazier when you remember the role she played online. This wasn't somebody casually giving opinions from their couch. No, she was questioning men about how they run their households, questioning family structures, questioning relationships, questioning marriages, giving psychological breakdowns, correcting people, and speaking with authority. So now critics are asking, authority based on what exactly? And this is where social media gets very interesting. For years, she had a massive fan base supporting her, especially from audiences who liked hearing her takes on relationships and modern dating dynamics. And let's be honest, social media will support almost anybody as long as they're saying what certain audiences want to hear. If you validate people emotionally, they'll crown you instantly. Nobody asks questions when the message feels good. But the second people dislike something you say, now suddenly everybody becomes an investigator. And that's when the internet started digging. Now, what really made this situation spiral was her attempt to defend herself publicly. Because instead of simply producing clear evidence, okay, so you want my degree, this is my degree, here's the transcript, here's the graduation proof, the response became emotional. Long explanations talking about my tribe, my people, my supporters, y'all are haters. And whenever someone starts hiding behind my tribe instead of documentation, that's when people start side-eyeing the entire situation because facts don't need fan clubs. A real degree doesn't require emotional speeches, it requires paperwork. Simple. And look, this situation is bigger than just one person now. This is becoming a conversation about the entire social media aspect industry. Because we now live in a world where people can build $1 million brands online simply by speaking confidently. You don't even have to prove anything anymore. Just speak passionately, use therapy language, throw around buzzwords like healing, trauma, narcissist, and boundaries, get a microphone, go viral, and suddenly you're an expert. Meanwhile, audiences rarely verify credentials until controversy happens. And honestly, that should scare people. Because imagine taking relationship advice, mental health guidance, and life direction from somebody whose qualifications are now being heavily questioned. That's not a small issue. That's serious. Now, to be fair, everybody deserves the opportunity to explain themselves clearly. But the internet is looking at this situation and saying, if you knowingly presented yourself as a doctor for years without legitimately earning it, how is that not fraudulent? And that's the part nobody can dance around. Because titles matter, credentials matter, and credibility matters, especially when your entire career is built on authority. But anyway, that's the internet drama right now. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this was intentional deception? Or do you think people are overreacting? Because social media is definitely not letting this one go anytime soon. Like, comment, subscribe to Viewspot for more commentary. Thank you.